you don't have the to divorce her.
No,
and
sir.
That's what you need to do.
No, sir. I told him he needed to grow some.
Dr. Phil, God.
That is your mugshot, right? And this happened after you and your mother-in-law got into a huge fight, and she called the cops and had you arrested, fingerprinted, and booked, correct?
Yes.
And she says that you attacked her, grabbed her arm, made her bleed, and pushed her down to the floor. You say she attacked you holding one of your children and tried to choke you.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. This isn't good.
No.
This isn't good. Let's take a look at this story.
Any decision that involves my daughter, my mother would like to control.
Katherine disagrees with us on almost every aspect of how we choose to raise our children, whether it's what they eat, when they nap, how long they nap for. My mother-in-law definitely feels that I'm not a proper wife and mother.
The day that Maria and I had our altercation changed my life.
On that day, I had come downstairs.
She had breast augmentation done.
Maria was complaining that she felt Ted was having an affair. I walked in the kitchen and she said, he's been his girlfriend all week. It really startled me, the language that she was using in front of the children.
She began yelling at me, saying that I didn't deserve Ted, that I didn't deserve the children, and that she would do whatever she had to do to take my children from me. Through the entire altercation, she was holding my one-year-old daughter.
I managed to break away from her, and she got behind me and shoved me down on the kitchen floor.
She slipped, and she fell.
I said, Maria, what is wrong with you? She told me that I was a piece of shit. I wasn't a good wife, a good person. I pushed her against the wall.
She could have grabbed my arm, my shirt, my hair, but she didn't. She grabbed my throat.
She reached and dug her nails into my arm, puncturing my arm pretty severely.
Blood started running.
I was scared, I was nervous, but I made up my mind, as God is my witness, it'll be over my body before I leave those children in there with her.
Well, Maria is currently on a $1,500 personal recognizance bond and needed a judge's permission to travel to the show today. Now, her mother-in-law, Katherine, is backstage right now, and she's listening to everything that's going on, and we're going to bring her out in a little bit. You wrote the letter.
Yes, sir.
Tell me why you wanted to be here and what you want to accomplish today.
I'd like to see my mother get some help into knowing how to treat my wife properly and to admit what's happened in this situation and to be honest about it.
And what would she admit if she admitted what happened in this situation?
I do not believe the police should have been involved, and I think if Mother would just admit that, it would be the beginning of getting us all some help.
Well, but your mother says that you took her to the magistrate.
No, that's not correct. I did go to see how my mother was doing. The police officer that had been there had left and had talked to me on the phone and let me know that my mother would have to go to the magistrate's office in order to press charges. I was actually there at her home when some photographs were being taken. And my mother then was taken to the magistrate's office by an officer, and I picked her up and brought her back home. At the whole time, she said she never pressed charges against my wife and still contends that to this day.
Okay, now we'll get back to where you need to be in this and where you have been in this. But I guess my first question to you is, what are you doing rolling around in the floor with your mother-in-law at your house?
It was a situation that never should have happened, obviously. The whole thing would have been over had I asked her numerous times to leave and give me my daughter. And she was refusing to give me my one-year-old daughter. At no time did I intend to harm her. All I was doing was trying to get my daughter from her. There's somebody in your home threatening you and your children. Your natural reaction when someone's holding your baby and refusing to give them to you is to
Do you have a temper?
Oh, sure.
Because she says, and your sister says, that you've told them that Maria gets upset, throws things, like the telephone, has hit you, has called you. So you say you just instinctively grabbed her arm.
When she had my throat, yes.
And you did what?
I grabbed her arm from my throat.
Yeah.
Grabbed her and put her arm down and said, "Don't you ever do that to me again," and let go. And as soon as I let go, she swung at me, and I had to back away with my children. And immediately ran upstairs and locked me and my children into a room to get away from her.
So you got a 70-year-old mother-in-law who's swinging at you.
Yes.
Is this happening in the kitchen or the den?
It's happening in the breakfast area.
In the breakfast area. And where are you when all this is going on? You're at work, or you're gone?
I was on my way back home from a business trip, and actually I called to see how things were at the home and heard some of the arguing going on, but I didn't call until after some of this had taken place. And what scared me is that it's not the first time my mother has actually said, if Maria speaks to me like that again, I'm going to slap her face. And she said that numerous times in the past, and so there's some of this that rings a bell to me. But when I called and heard both of them yelling at each other, it was just, I can't imagine telling you how shocked I was.
Well, all right. Maria says her mother-in-law threatened to reveal something today that will ruin her life.
Oh my God. So I know this is serious. It's not a joke. They got into a fight. That's not okay. But is anyone else laughing every time it cuts to the mother-in-law backstage? I don't know what it is, but it's like her facial expressions are cracking me up. Like they'll accuse her of something and then it'll cut to her and she's like, they'll say something and she's like, she's very dramatic. I can see how she might stir the pot and bring a bit of drama into this family. As of yet, I haven't taken a side, but the mother-in-law seems very dramatic, and honestly, I'm kind of enjoying the entertainment.
I will never forgive her for what she's done. Katherine would say she spit on someone because their skin looked dry. She just won't take responsibility for anything that she does. I absolutely don't believe a single bit she was trying to help me. She told a pretty good story in court, made for television, basically. And it would have been called Katherine the Great.
Well, today we're talking about in-law conflicts that have had criminal consequences. I'm going to put in for hazardous duty pay today. I may get choked or clawed or something. I hope not. 29-year-old Maria was found guilty of assaulting her 73-year-old mother-in-law, Katherine, and spent several hours in jail after leaving the elderly woman with bleeding wounds. Now, Katherine says her daughter-in-law, Maria, has a violent temper and fears that she's a danger to her son, Ted, as well as her grandchildren. Katherine,
Yes.
what's going on here?
Right now, I'm in shock that, first of all, they would say the things that they just said.
What in particular was offensive to your sensibilities?
The fact that Ted said that he didn't suggest that I report the incident. In fact, he said, you have to report this incident.
Okay, but let me ask something. Multiple times you were asked to leave. Why didn't you just leave and avoid the confrontation?
Because I was worried about my grandchildren. She displayed a temper that I have never seen before, except the time that she did tell me to get the out of her house.
So you actually believed that this woman was going to attack and injure these two children?
I really wasn't sure, Dr. Phil, but I know that she had had breast augmentation, she was wrapped in gauze, and was told not to lift more than 5 pounds.
Yeah.
And I wanted to stay there until my son got there. He asked me to stay with them.
Did you object to her having breast augmentation? Because that's the 4th time you've mentioned it.
I breastfed 2 children for a total of 2 years and looked like, like a science project. So hence my.
Yeah, I mean, did you not like that?
I think it's a voluntary thing. I think it's something we choose
well, I just
for
wondered
ourselves.
because you kept mentioning it.
No.
Ted says that you have a need to control every decision about the children, and that you are just overbearing and domineering and asserting your will about that.
That's false.
That's false.
Yes, sir.
Why would you say that about your mother?
It's just it's a fact. And I love my mother, and I hate that this has happened, but I really want that to change. I want her to respect the fact that I may look at something with my children or Maria, and we make a decision with our kids that's dramatically different than how you would do it. But we love our children. Maria would never attack those children, and you know that, Mama.
I am amazed that having brought this young man up with the high values, principles, and ethics that I feel I brought him up with, that he would come on stage here and tell people that I would do those things. As God is my witness, I have never interfered to my knowledge.
Well, I've got 2 really burning questions for you, because I want to give you a chance to talk about all of this. Now, I'm going to take a break first. Ted claims that he stands by his wife, but I'm wondering if he's playing both sides and creating more of a problem here than he's fixing.
Ted said, you have to report this, Mom. I never dreamed she'd do this to you.
And I think Ted took his mother's side.
She snipped, and I guess I'll have to involve the police. I did not take it seriously.
Ted stated that Maria's statement had changed 4 or 5 times. And again, he said in court, Mom's statement had changed 4 or 5 times. I really don't know.
Well, bloody attacks, arrests, mugshots, undercover stings. But this is not an episode of Cops. This is the Dr. Phil Show, and we're talking about in-laws, families that come together, merge together, and live in harmony by design. Ted says that the relationship between his wife Maria and his mother Katherine is often a sick competition, and he is tired of being trapped in the middle. Now, you said in your best Virginia accent, God is my witness, I'll never be hungry again. No. It is hard for me to picture you choking somebody, swinging on them, and wrestling in the floor, but that did happen, right? You were wound up in the floor.
I was pushed in the kitchen into the kitchen floor. The first thing that happened.
Did you choke her?
No, sir.
Did you take a swing at her?
Had I wanted to hurt her, I could have hit her in her breast. I could have. Well, no.
That's 5 times.
That's okay.
No, but you could have hurt her if you wanted to. But
Dr. Phil, I could have harmed her, but I tried to keep her refrained or restrained from me because she did. She pushed me on the kitchen floor. She got behind me when I got up and sat in a chair and shoved my left shoulder into a coffee cup, and coffee flew.
did you say that she's a horrible mom and doesn't deserve to be married to your son?
No, because Maria is a good mother.
Did you say to her, "You crazy bitch, I'm going to take you down"?
No, sir.
You didn't say that.
There again, I'll tell you, as God is my witness, I did not say that.
Did you say to your son, "You don't have the to divorce her"?
No,
and
sir.
That's what you need to do.
No, sir. I told him he needed to grow some.
Dr. Phil, God.
I'm going to tell you like I see it, honey, because I've got...
No, I want you to. Did you say to one of the children, "Where do you get that temper from? I guess it's from the woman who did this to my arm, and that's your mother"?
No, sir.
You did not say...
No, I didn't.
God is my witness. I'm from Virginia, too. You did say that. And you said it in the house, right there in front of both children. Now start telling the truth.
I'm telling the truth.
Tell the truth, Mother.
I'm telling you.
Okay. You said that right in front of the children.
No, I did not.
So you didn't say any of that stuff. So are they just... I mean, this is your own son that's making this stuff up about you? Wonder why he's doing that.
I don't
Could be
really
the breast augmentation.
You got that right.
But, why is he saying those things about you?
I don't know. I'm actually just in a state of shock over him saying that, because when he came in, I had gone upstairs and there was blood all over everything, and I was like in a state of shock. I was wiping the blood up.
Can I see where she got you?
Right, there's one of them right like this. And then there was one over here.
Okay, so she clawed you
Yes,
right
sir.
there. Now, she says that's while you were choking her.
I never tried to choke her. I did put my hand here, and you're going to hear this again because of the bandage. Look, I love this young woman. I don't want her hurt. I don't want my grandchildren hurt.
If you love her, why did you call the law on her and put her in jail?
I didn't do it. No, the Commonwealth of Virginia, when the policeman came in, which my son said, "You must report this." And I hadn't even thought about the police when I was in such a state of shock.
Well, I actually spoke to the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Okay.
And they said that you were the one that called, that you were the witness for the prosecution in the trial in July. So you not only were upset that day and called and reported it and filed a complaint, you then went in later And
No, sir.
you could have dropped the charges. You could have said, no, I don't want to do it. You
told
put your
him.
grandchildren's mother in jail.
I didn't want her put in jail. I was crying, and I told the magistrate, I said, I do not want this woman arrested, and I do not want her picked up.
Okay, but the people who tend to arrest folks and put them in jail are police and judges. And you contacted both.
Because my son asked me to. He said, you must take this to the authorities.
And you say that's not true?
No.
All right, I got to take a break. All right, look, Maria says, I'm not ever going to be able to forgive Katherine for being arrested, and now I got a permanent record that I have to deal with. What do they do with all of this, and how do we get out of this?
So I still don't know what to make of this exactly, but I do feel like the mother-in-law is really playing the, oh, I'm just a poor, sweet grandmother type of role here. And what her own son says conflicts with everything that she says. And she keeps claiming that he told her to call the cops and to then testify in court for the prosecution or whatever. And he's shaking his head no. And she says, oh, I didn't want her arrested, but then she still called the cops on her and got her arrested. And like Dr. Phil said, she could drop the charges, but she didn't. So, you know, it's kind of ridiculous to me that she's pretending like she's so confused about how all this happened and she's horrified that it happened. But clearly you wanted this to happen, lady. So what are you upset about? Either way, I'm very entertained by this mother-in-law.
We're talking about in-law conflicts that are so extreme that they've crossed into the legal arena. Now, Maria's holding a grudge against her mother-in-law, Katherine, ever since she had her arrested for assault. Now, Katherine says she hasn't seen her grandchildren in months, and of course that's not good if you miss them and they miss you. So what is it that you're threatening her with to ruin her life?
I'm not threatening her with anything.
Well, what is it you're going to tell me today that's going to ruin her life?
I don't want to tell you what she said to me. She's 29, almost 30 years old. I don't want her to go the rest of her life having the things that she said to me on national television. I don't want to say it.
You want to just tell me secretly?
That would be fine.
Okay. All right.
She told me. She couldn't forgive him.
All right. I understand. I'm not going to ask you to say it.
And I'll tell you what.
I'm not going to ask you to say it. Okay. Please.
Thank you. There's a lot of different angles here going on.
Of course.
And it feels like it's an attack on Mom, and that is not right.
No,
I don't want it to be an attack on Maria.
I'm just getting to the other side.
Or Ted, either one. But the truth of the matter, that her arm was horrible, that she needed to file charges, that you took care of that, you helped her home, took the children to the babysitter, that Maria had changed her story 4 or 5 times, and then in court you said Mom had, which both can be true, because in something like that, stuff can come up that you remember later. But it's not all one-sided here.
No, I got to do this a piece at a time.
It feels like an attack.
Oh, no, I'm headed down to the other end.
Fair. I love them all very much.
Yeah, and you're Ted's sister.
I am.
Kathy. And I'll probably talk to you some more in a minute. Y'all want to know what I think about this? I think you guys have gotten into a situation where you've got no boundaries. The fact that you have let a family dispute get to the point that you've turned it over to third-party judicial forces, that's a bad thing. That's inviting the government into your home. And now your daughter-in-law has a criminal record, and she doesn't like that.
Sir.
Okay, but let me finish. So somehow or another, this thing has gotten way out of whack. You had the ability to defuse this at the time, but you got angry, correct?
Yep. I could have just gone upstairs.
Once you get married, right, wrong, or indifferent, fair or unfair, if there is conflict between your mother or your father and your wife, if there's conflict between your mother and your father and your husband, it's your job to fix it. It's your job to fix it. That's your job to sit down with your mother and say, Mom, we've got to have some boundaries here. We don't want you to not be around the children. We don't want the children to not have you around them. But there are some boundaries that you're going to have to respect, and if you violate those, then we're going to have to limit the exposure. Now, what I would implore you to do is pick your battles wisely. the fact that grandmother might do things differently than you would do, I mean, is it really something that you want to fracture the family over? Because let me tell you, there is no love for a child like a grandmother's love. And extended family is so important. Aunts, mothers, that's so important. I can tell you, Robin and I have 2 children that are now grown, 27 and 20, and to this day, there is no greater love they have than for their grandmother and their grandmother for them. And she spoils them. Oh my God, they should be in the penitentiary if they use that value system. Cut that out of the show. But I mean, you have to try to be forgiving and pick your battles when it doesn't really matter. If it doesn't affect the character, the focus, the values of the child. She didn't do such a bad job with you.
No, the
she
argument
did such a bad job with you, right? I mean, you turned out relatively okay.
That's debatable.
Well, I'm talking about you've got to have the strength to step up and stand up. The question is, can these in-laws ever find resolution and become a family again? We're back with in-laws at war. Now, Katherine had her daughter-in-law, Maria, arrested and claims that it was her son, Ted's idea. Now, she says that's not what happened and that's not what she wanted to occur. Now, you have filed an appeal.
Yes.
And you need to fight that appeal all the way to the Supreme Court of the Commonwealth of Virginia if that's what you have to do. You started something in play here.
I did not.
Well,
What she
did
doesn't
not
understand is that at this
do it.
point, I can't be in the same room as her at the best for 2 years because I can't put myself in the position that she can call the police on me again, and I can. So that's the issue. My other issue with my children adore her. My children love her.
I love those children.
She
with
loves
all
my children.
heart.
But
And
I
love-
can't risk
I love
her
you,
making
Maria.
comments to my children about me. I cannot do it.
I've never said anything to your children.
Well, then Ted's a
Maria,
liar.
look
This
me in
happened
the
when I
eye.
was a young man and
I
my
love
mother and
you.
father
I
divorced
have
Dr.
never
Phil.
said
She
anything
put my
about
father
you.
down all the time to me. And this is just a repeated behavior. And that really doesn't have anything to do with why we're here today. But
but
when
it
you're
kind
saying
of does.
limiting.
But what you're saying is if you have to put up some boundaries there. When you say you didn't start this ball rolling, but when you picked up that phone, and listen, if you're in danger, if you feel you're in danger, you have to do what it takes to protect yourself. And
Sir, you've been led to believe the wrong thing.
who called 911?
Catherine?
She tried to the first time. She tried to have me removed. There's a pack of lies that have already been said here. Before I ever came out, there were a pack of lies.
Okay, and you've identified every one of those that you thought was was
sir.
wrong.
No, sir. I actually was in a state of shock when I viewed them from your blue room.
Okay, green. Is there anything?
It's blue.
I know, but they called it green. Is there anything you haven't said that you want to say that
Yes,
you want to
sir.
clarify or straighten out?
There definitely is.
Okay, click them off for me because I want to hear them, but we've got to move right along.
I did not want her put in jail.
Okay.
I did not file the suit. The Commonwealth of Virginia filed it. I was only a witness. The judge found her guilty, but she only wanted her to get anger management, which is all I wanted her to do. Get anger management and let everything else go. And in 2 years, they would wipe her slate clean.
And for 2 years, I'd be walking on eggshells.
I feel at the bottom of my heart that I was there for a good reason. I was asked to come and take care of all 3 of them, the 2 little girls and Maria, who had just had breast augmentation. I love that girl, and she knew I wouldn't mind doing anything to help her. The only reason I'm here is that I prayed about it, and I want her to have some therapy so that the chance that possibly she'll get angry enough to hurt the children will be wiped clean.
Okay.
And the fact that she did hurt him, wait just a minute. I'm a Southern lady and you're a Southern gentleman.
That's why I'm sitting
all
here
right,
quiet.
Okay.
That's why I'm
And
sitting
it's
here
not
quiet.
a funny deal at
Well-
all. It's a very serious deal to me, one that I have been made to look like a meddling mother-in-law.
You got? Do
And
you?
I'm not.
Do you? I have one question for you, and then we are moving on. Okay. Do you have any ownership or contribution to the problems that occurred that day? Is there any
Certainly I did.
any fault or blame
Yes,
or
sir.
responsibility?
Yes,
and
sir,
What
I
would
did.
it? What would it be?
It would be that because of what she said to me, It was like putting the flag up in front of a bull, a red flag. I do not believe in using the or any of that in front of little children. And she's done it twice, to my knowledge, in front of me, and I've told her that, to me, it's pretty tacky.
All right. Now, what did you do wrong, Mama? If I arrange some help to try to decompress this situation and come up with a plan where everybody can coexist peaceably and the children can have access to their extended family, will you participate in that?
Certainly.
Will you participate
Absolutely.
in that? Will you participate in that? If the court said, look, I'll drop these charges, we'll no-bill this, we'll take this whole thing and expunge it from the record if you do anger management, would you do it with her?
That's what the court offered.
Would you do it with her?
Certainly.
Okay. I'm not saying,
Let me tell you something. I'm 73 years old, and I've never had anyone say that I was so angry I needed to have management.
Well, I'm saying if you two got in there and worked together, you could maybe find some.
I would love to.
All right.
Okay, so in this story, we have in-laws fighting, both figuratively and literally. They got into a physical altercation, and the daughter-in-law apparently drew blood against like the mother-in-law who is in her 70s, and cops were called. Now she has a mugshot. Now she might have to take anger management classes. So honestly, I think that both of them were likely in the wrong. It sounds like neither party is innocent here. It sounds like the daughter-in-law probably does have some anger issues and probably did snap and get a little out of control that night. I don't know why it would be necessary to have a physical fight with your mother-in-law who's in her late 70s. I feel like that's not really necessary to do whatever needs to be done in that situation. But it also seems like the mother-in-law is controlling, is an instigator, and was probably refusing to give back her child. So I think ultimately what Dr. Phil said is true, is that the husband is the one who's responsible for diffusing all of this, and he's not doing that. And he might be playing both sides or just sitting back and kind of maybe being a little bit of a coward about it. But he needs to do something. This is his wife, so he needs to stand up for his family that he created. If his wife has bad behavior, he needs to call that out too, of course. But he's the only person who can really speak to both sides of this, and he's kind of doing nothing. So I don't know, guys, what did you think about this? Who do you think was in the wrong? Do you believe the mother-in-law story? Do you believe the daughter-in-law story? Do you think that the mother-in-law has some judgment against the daughter-in-law, perhaps for her breast augmentation? She does seem to keep mentioning it. It seems to be a sticking point. But you guys let me know, and what do you think can be done about the situation to bring everyone together? Let me know. Drop it in the comments.